Yo, what's up everyone? It's Pisces Pixie, and I really wanted to make a video about the full moon in Pisces because it's happening in 2 days time when I post this. And basically, this is wrapping up a cycle that we started in March, specifically the 13th of March, which is when we had a new moon in Pisces. Now, usually moon cycles, they do follow, like, when it's a full moon, it's like, oh, it's a completion of a cycle. And then you look to when the last new moon of that sign was. And then it can kind of give you this time frame of, like, what's been happening in that chunk of time. And we're always kind of going through these like healing phases or like phases in our life where we're like discovering discovering something, going through the process of like understanding it and encountering it more, and then healing it and experimenting, and then finally we kind of like reach a bit more of a conclusion, and then we kind of usually embody like a different state of being, a different way of approaching things, just a completely new understanding. And it usually takes, you know, a good 9 months for us to like birth new awareness, or 6 months as well. Like, you know, it kind of varies. It varies depending on what it is that you're learning. And now not everyone is in natural sync with that, you know, hey fucking ho, but usually the people that fucking listen to my fucking content are the people that are in sync with it. So hey, we're gonna do some cards, and I'm just gonna go with the fucking flow and see what wants to come out. But one of the first things that I was getting with the Pisces full moon is that there are spiritual lessons that were initiated and started in March that are becoming like more well-rounded and full blossom. One of the things that I was getting from that is actually how we are practicing our mysticism. So for people who are listening, who are readers, who are intuitives, who are psychics, actually, and this is the weird thing because I bet you haven't even noticed it, there is this like a new embodiment of how you are spiritually, understanding how you innately work with spirit, and fleshing out our spiritual intuitive faculties. So one thing that I even started to do before this was like I kind of noticed I went into a bit of a pattern of like, oh, like I should like do this and I should do that, and I was like, actually no, you should just fucking go with the flow, and listen to my own resources and my own spirit. And I've been recognizing more and more that I do work more as a channel, but then at the same time it's like everyone's a fucking channel. Like when you're in line with your own spirit, you are just channeling spirit, and that's how I work best. I don't work too well retaining information and like trying, like none of that works for me. It's just being in alignment, just being confident in my own self, and just penetrating the space with my essence, and then more and more it kind of fleshes out and owns it more and feels more empowered and da 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 da. So there's been this thing I feel of like something that we started in March. Maybe we in the beginning of March we were kind of just starting to explore how we work spiritually, and now we're getting to a phase where we're actually maybe kind of starting to discover it does feel new, although it's a full moon, which is kind of completion. It does get followed by Aries, so there is something new coming. There's a new embodiment of our spirituality that's on its way, and a new way that you might work with energy, with you know, your psychic messages, with your astrology, with your card readings, with how you like work with yourself, how you respond to yourself as well. It feels like there's been something too with Pisces energy. I'm seeing this thing now of like, it's like a big circle, and sometimes we like swim around bumping into subconscious ideas of who we should be, how we should do things, how we should present things. And the funny thing is, Pisces used to be ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is that of like wisdom, expansion, optimism, teaching as well. And it feels like Jupiter and the Pisces energy that it used to kind of share, but now it's kind of more shared with Neptune, that there is still all links there, and it just feels like there is this understanding and defining of your unique way of channeling source energy, and not doubting that and flowing with that and embodying that more. Because yeah, I'm seeing this like, yes, we are all one and all of this like energy and like, you know, we're all fucking connected, but there is still this like individuality part. There's still a way that you work. There's still a way that your individual spirit operates. And sometimes we can really kind of go against the flow of that, especially if you get into comparison mindset or if you're not feeling too confident. The thing is with spirituality and psychic work as well is, you know, it's very out there. You know, it doesn't feel like there's always a lot of proof. It doesn't always feel like there's not always like a lot of solid evidence. There's a lot of like shifting between, is this my subconscious, because it's Neptune energy, you know, it's like, is this real or is this not? Am I projecting or am I actually feeling your energy? Am I really like healing this thing with my hands, or am I just delusional as fuck? And that is, it feels like we've been going through lots of themes of that in many different areas, and we'll go into the cards and kind of look at what areas of life that's also manifesting in, because it's not just about spirituality, but it also feels like there's been phases of understanding like delusion and reality and fantasy and reality, and also emotions that we get lost in as well is something that wants to come through, and also psychic energy. I've noticed a theme, especially in the last few weeks. I keep talking about psychically headbutting other people's energy and then internalizing that and like not knowing how to act on that. And yeah, it feels like one of the themes that has been happening too is people realizing how what is their energy and what is their spiritual energy and what is their psychic energy in the vastness of the collective, and how to identify your own energy within the collective's psychic energy and your own subconscious as well, and how to almost protect yourself from the primordial soup of the world's emotions and the world's feelings and the world's thoughts and the world's judgments and the world's structures and all of that stuff that makes you feel confused about how you do things and how you do you. And there's a beauty with the full moon in Pisces of really reclaiming your spirit and love for yourself. And you don't even have to be spiritual, because spirituality, I know that that's like it's a title that can like, what does it really mean? And I think it's just loving yourself. Honestly, that connection, that relationship with your own emotions and your vibe. Best way I can describe it, your vibe. What is your vibe? How does it vibe? How does it work? And how can we continue to solidify spiritual structures, physical structures, emotional structures, to continue to elevate our vibe and support us vibing in the best way that we can motherfucking vibe. And a lot of that includes healing. A lot of that includes self-reflection and letting go and transforming things that we learn that stopped us from the full embodiment. But yeah, I want to do some cons now. So we're I'm gonna kind of take a little bit more of a look into like what areas of life we've been learning. Like, what have we actually been learning in these last few months as well as cards. But yeah, that's, the channel is over. It will come back, I'm sure, but you just gotta go with it. I have some like questions wrote down that I got before I hit record. But there's also, yeah, deep spiritual lessons coming to fruition as well. So I'm just gonna put them face down for now, and then we will pick them out. But the question here is, what have we really been learning these last few months with the full moon in Pisces? Just gonna keep these face down. What have we really been learning? And that should give us some more context away from my own stuff. But yeah, deep spiritual lessons coming to fruition as well. I think something that I had seen in my own personal life is just like since March, there's just been this really teasing out any emotional blockages to my creativity and any blockages in owning my spirit and vibing at the best way I can vibe, which has included, really identifying points of energetic conflict and emotional conflict, which sometimes was felt psychically from other people, where we are playing out each other's deepest, darkest wounds. Everybody has a shadow self, and sometimes we can pick up on, for example, if I'm somebody who, what's my shadow self? So my shadow self can have like a really, it's softened up a lot, but in its darkest, most brutal form, it will just like paint things black. It will just completely absorb and black out like all light and love and support. It will completely reject support. And if your wound is, you have been really, really loving and kind, but have always felt, just like people don't appreciate it, or you've had a lot of rejection, you might subconsciously pick up on my shadow shit because it like feeds your shadow shit. Sometimes we literally like magnetize, I will say, incompatible energies for our own healing sometimes. So for example, if you have really shit thoughts about yourself and you feel like you suck, then you might pick up on, and it won't happen with everybody, you will pick up on particular people who have the shadow dynamic of, for example, being like critical and judgmental, or maybe not being too keen about you. And sometimes you will like pick up on that, and it will like amplify and it will magnify, and then we will create with Pisces our own understanding and sometimes illusions and fantasy and delusions, because sometimes, Pisces is represented by the moon in the tarot deck, which is also about creating false like illusions that are negative. Pisces isn't all about like, oh, so much love and like, oh, my fantasy is like imagining you being great. Sometimes your fantasy and like your delusions can you can create shadows and amplify people's shadows and pull in psychically people's shadow energy that induce you into a state of victimhood. And it feels like that is another thing that we've been ending. So let's see what else we have been learning. So I love this not today card. I had a feeling this was going to come out. This is energetic boundaries. I feel learning when that part of you, might fucking absorb and subconsciously connect in with something negative, or maybe your own subconscious wonders and goes into areas where it starts to make you feel like shit, we're learning to basically be like, yo, bitch, not today. Not today. I'm going to have some boundaries on that. And I'm not going to answer that call either. Because it feels like sometimes there might be people in the psychic realm, they might be fucking calling you up. You know, if you're doing fucking really well, some people might be watching that and they're like, hi, my life's going shit right now, so I'm just gonna be giving you some bad thoughts. And they don't mean to do that. That's just like what the fuck happens. Until they deal with their shit, you know, and that's a very Willow state that happens in that scenario as well, where it's like, you know, you do well and somebody else they're not going so great, and they unconsciously put a dampener on things, or they begrudge the success and the good fortune that is being bestowed upon other people. You might get a fucking psychic call from those people, and what we're learning is to not answer that. This is also to exes that think of us. This can be any kind of call. Like, that's something I've been experiencing with the freaking begrudging shit. But this can be, you know, woe is me energy, like, oh, I want you back in my life, like, I wish you were part of my life again. And this is also you learning to not make those calls as well. When your subconscious is wandering off and is like romanticizing, fantasizing in that way, or destructive energy, shadow energy, learning to be like, no, not today. I am going to set some boundaries with my subconscious and my wandering mind, and stop searching in the astral and psychic realms for energy that make me feel like shit, so that I can continue to be a victim and not show up in my life. Who said that? Oh my god. We have healthy choices. So making healthier choices. This is what, since March, up until now, you know, we've been just learning to make healthier choices for ourselves. Self-love, self-care, being happier. I love that this camera is now auto-focusing. I changed my camera. It's looking good. We got kisses, which is unconditional love, giving and receiving affection and falling in love. So it does feel like, because Pisces energy, you know, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of unconditional love. It's spirit. So there is that unconditional love aspect there, and compassion and empathy. So what you might have been learning in these last 6 months is that you are falling a little bit more in love with your life. You are choosing to go get help. You are choosing to love yourself. And also, you might have been recognizing where you are supported and where you're not, where you give and receive affection, and how equal are those exchanges. We also lastly have the Phoenix, which is about transformation and growth. Also, we might be rekindling old parts of ourselves, old passion projects that we put on the back burner. That's one thing that comes to mind. But learning to renew our own spirit and grow. The base card of this, so this was like, what have we been learning these past few months, was keys on a ring. And this is about this feels like this is like a lot of different options. Like, the thing is with keys on a ring, it says like many options, but this is giving me that Pisces energy of like all of that confusion, because there's like so many different things happening, and like we have to kind of sift through it to get the right information about ourselves as well, and also trusting our unconventional selves. I love as well how the dragonfly is underneath that as well, which is a classic card of in the spirit animal deck of Kim Kron. The dragonfly is about illusions of the mind, and yeah, like, it's very, we've already kind of like touched on that. So I'm going to pull some cards from a different deck, and we're going to kind of pull into how can we conclude this cycle. Is there anything we need to know, anything we need to do? I feel like we're going to have cards from all sides of the decks on this, from like different ones. So let's see. So how can we conclude this cycle? How can we conclude this cycle? Also, too, I might end up uploading this onto YouTube. If I freaking do, guys, please go check out my Patreon. I make a ton of content on Patreon, and I am starting to like really get into recording these collective messages and getting better at them. I usually used to just write them, but I've been making a lot of stuff over on there. So please go support my content. And it's also a self-investment, because then you are getting in touch and in tune with collective messages to help you in your own life. You know, I make content for people, not, well, I enjoy it myself, to be fair, but the content is for you. So if you resonate with my messages and you like my style, then yeah, it's super cheap, and there's even stuff at $5 as well. All right, so how to conclude the cycle? Okay, how can we, oh my god, I just saw that card. It's still in my hand. No, it's gone now, it's dropped. The Eight of Wands. We did a reading about the Eight of Wands on Patreon as well, and it was about jumping through timelines. And it was the solar flares, and it gave me goosebumps. It gave me fucking goosebumps. So, how to conclude this cycle? How do we conclude this cycle? Is there any additional information? How can we conclude the cycle? Okay, we're moving on to another deck. I feel like I just want to take like a couple from each, because I feel like there's because obviously so many of those will have like differing ways that we are experiencing this cycle. It kind of all ties in with the archetype of Pisces and what Pisces represents. But we're obviously going to be experiencing it in a different way, and it's going to have different manifestations. So I think that's why we need so many different understandings and ways to conclude this cycle. So please just listen and just take what resonates. Like, it might not be specific, every message might not be for you. And that's okay. Just listen out for the ones that are. Okay, we'll take that one. I'm gonna keep them face down, as many as I can face down, until I've pulled all the cards that we have, because sometimes my mind will just go off on one. I'm a Mercury Aquarius, so it was like starts to do all the math and like link all the dots, and you know that gif where it's like the person's face and it has like all maths overlaying on the face, and it's like yeah, I get like that when I start, like, even my subconscious starts to wander and I have to boop it on the head. I'm like, no. Focus on your current question. How do you currently conclude this cycle? If there's any messages that want to come through for the people that are listening, how can we conclude this cycle? I don't think I need more cards from that. And we'll just go with some Osho. I love okay, hi. I absolutely adore Osho's deck. I absolutely adore it, but I watched the freaking documentary of Osho and like his crazy followers and stuff, and I was like, oh man, like I would have totally lived on Osho's farm thing until shit hit the fan. Like, yeah, I definitely would have lived there. If you haven't watched it, it's like Wild Country on Netflix, and it's like how in the 70s and 80s a spiritual leader called Osho moved from India to America and created this whole religion that took over a small town and almost got into assassinations, and it was basically like a huge orgy with transcendental meditation. That's the bit I'm interested in, is like these groups of transcendental meditation, co-community living, everyone has jobs, everyone kind of like pitches in and takes from it, and yeah, it looked really cool, but then things went weird. Because apparently that's how it's gotta be sometimes. All right, so I have the cards. I'm gonna start from top to bottom. Let me just find a safe place for this deck to go. I have this like deck organizer and like it's overloaded because I have too many decks that I like to use, but I think I'm gonna have to declutter them. Anyway, so how can we conclude this cycle? Oh, wow. What a powerful card. So I feel like this is just a message to say that we're actually over the hard part. So this is like, I don't want to fucking fall into that, but this is kind of saying that like the path is already safe, like you are already well on your way to conclude this cycle. But I do feel for some of you that it is going to be a case of moving on. It's going to be a case of just moving on and moving forward. This is a very healing card as well. So you have the Six of Cups, which is a very like inner child healing. But for me, the so this translates to the Six of Swords. To me, this is about that this negativity and this like chaos is now in your past and you are already moving forward, and it does feel like there's this nurturing quality to it. So it's like, I feel like there's this essence of walking away from the things that are painful, like whatever that source of you know, getting confused in the primordial soup and like, you know, tuning into negative thoughts that are feeding your, you know, disempowered state. This is just kind of saying that like we're already moving on from this and our higher self is guiding us. I do feel like you do need to listen to your intuition and where it's guiding you. If you are being guided, and I actually feel like some of you are being slapped on the face to fucking go get a life coach or a therapist, go fucking get one, because this is about having support as well. In the traditional tarot deck, the Six of Swords, it's a lady in a boat with a child and they are sailing away from chaotic seas, but there is somebody in the boat directing the boat. And this is a card of like having guidance, and it is a swords card. So this is about mental guidance, actually having communicated guidance to you and speaking to somebody about your problems. Now, depending on what kind of problems we have, it's going to require varying degrees of who we can talk to, because for example, if someone's in a really, really dark, deep state, you're probably not going to want to open up to your really busy friend. You're going to want to try and find someone who can meet that well so that it doesn't start out a new cycle of self-sabotage and thinking that you are not worth having help. Yeah, like it's know what you can and who you can reach out to, and ask for consent. As always, if you are afraid of reaching out and talking about your emotions, just say, hey, have you, like, you know, if you're in a group chat or if you're a friend, it's like, hey, have you got some time? Like, I'm going through this thing and like, I just need a hug. Like, understand what you need. We have the Nine of Voices, which is the Nine of Swords. Okay, this is really interesting because this is making me feel like how to conclude the cycle. Notice how you might hold on and hold close. Like it's like listening to this psychic thread of pain. And it feels like because this feels very painful, and it's like holding it close, and it's kind of, it feels like it's kind of like soothing and like listening out for that information. How to conclude this cycle is to notice what is it feeding in you when you do that. And I feel like replacing this source with your higher self. So if you notice your subconscious wander and start to try and get into these pocket dimensions or tune into these energies of people that don't think so good of you, or whatever you've been however you've been experiencing it, it might be, you know, your past, maybe you just can't get away from this feeling that like your life has just been so shit and like it's never gonna get better again. Whatever it is that's like feeding you know, it feels like replacing that source with asking, you know, higher self, I want to tune into you now and your wisdom and what you have to say about this, rather than this dense, painful psychic information that I'm tuning into. Now, when I say psychic information too, because, you know, we might have some normies listening, like, it literally might just be parts of your own thoughts, like parts of your own mind, that you keep linking into. If you think about the neural network of the mind, it's like you keep going down to like the shit part of the brain, automatically. Your just subconscious mind just goes do 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 do. Oh, here's the shit part again, and you just need to keep learning to pull that out and do make those conscious, healthy choices, which we've been learning to be like, okay, like, I can see that you've gone down this rabbit hole. I can see that, if you want to look at really sciencey, like, I can see that I am in this neural network part of my mind where, yes, I've had these shitty experiences, and yes, they have been stored there, but I'm going to gently take your hand and I'm going to guide you up to this new part of my mind, this new neural network that I am developing, and that I am assigning it the label of my higher self, or the best version of myself. And when I notice myself go down into this rabbit hole, I'm going to gently pull it up and say, okay, I now choose to connect to the higher neural network that supports my best path and supports my best good. The next card we have, so how to conclude the cycle. This is the thin veil. Now, this is making me feel, again, this is just I'm sorry, this is all psychic stuff. Like, I shouldn't apologize, because it's just, I need to trust that I'm going to attract the people who speak the lingo and fucking understand it without me needing to over-explain what the fuck I'm talking about. The psychic veil is very thin. Like, as soon as you think something, you can connect to it if you really want to, and some of you know how fucking real that is. And I think we have to understand and just respect that this veil is very, very thin, and we do actively just need to keep learning to let go. And also, it says let go and let glow. So again, there's this vibe of like, whatever you've been tuning into that feeds in a pain that stops you from glowing and shining your light and sharing your light. We have to respect how thin the veil is and just let it go and let myself glow. What other card do we have? Oh my god. We have It's Time for a Quantum Leap. Prepare for a makeover. This literally feels like the last few readings I've been doing, we've been talking about quantum leaps and timeline jumping, which I never usually speak about, but I am starting to embody and embrace my spiritual truth recently. Stuff that I understand and just know, but I've always like overthought explaining it and sharing it, because I thought I would need to explain things that I don't know how to fucking explain. That's all over on Patreon. Please go check that out. But this is time for a quantum leap. This is just deciding, like, I'm going to the higher neural network now. Like, I ain't going like back there. We ain't going there anymore. Like, this is a new way of being. I'm preparing for a makeover. I feel like fucking challenge yourself to like redo your identity, because I think some people have been really identified with tuning and walking into that shit part of the neural network. I'm calling it the neural network now. I don't know. Mercury Aquarius. You're so used to doing that. You're so used to living there. And there's parts of you that's just like, I'm comfy. Or, I can't be asked. And there's this window of opportunity right now with the full moon in Pisces of like, you know what? Like, because then after Pisces, we have Aries. We have like a new beginning, totally from scratch, a new way of embodying and a new way of doing and being brave and courageous and like just a whole new adventure. So this is the stars are aligned, the moon is on our side to push us into this new way of existing and being. And it just feels like there's this message as well of just like, if some of you have just constantly had the rug pulled under you, or you always just relapse into this state. This is just like really it's like saying like you're the one that's like in control of these relapses. Like don't act like you're not in control, and like this is what has been controlling you, if that makes sense. Like just this mind wandering into the shit place, and it's like, I'm gonna make some fucking healthy choices, bitch. Like sorry, I think someone wanted me to slap. Sorry, you got a physical one. But yeah, it's like, I'm gonna make some healthy choices on myself. I ain't going back there, and that's just the way it's gotta be. And have fun with it. Have fun with it. We have surrendered to play. Take a break from overthinking a goal. Do something fun. Play is a time of recreation and rejuvenation. So this does not have to be so serious. Just have fun with it. And then alongside that, you have the 10 of Cups. So this is about harmony, peace, fulfillment, emotional fulfillment, really just feeling that wholeness and completeness that you have been, it feels like desiring. Finally being able to see beyond the illusion of what, you know, walking down into the shit end of the bar, like, it's the shit end of the bar, like, it might be a part of your inner landscape, but it's not you. It's not the fullness of you. And then if we're going into the higher dimensional talk, like, you wandering in and, like, creating psychic connections to shadow realms or people's pain and people's shadow thoughts, like, you can disconnect from that. You can disconnect from that, and you don't need to keep incorporating it and like making it be a part of you that soothes you and keeps you in this current state. You need to get out there and share your creative shit as well. How to conclude this cycle, we are the world. This is like, yo, man, if all of us just like fucking just did this thing, you know, we shared our little creative thing, and then like everyone celebrated one another's like cool creative shit, like this world would be such a fucking better place. And again, we are just as much as part of this world as any other fucker. And the fact that we keep not showing up, and we said this in the Patreon reading, please go check it out. We need to claim our stakes in the world, because we are the world. We make up all of this. And if you're like, the world is shit. The world is shit. It sucks and do. Well, you go pull your finger out your butt, heal, and come and show up. Come join us. Come join the world. And people will not make fucking space for you if you are in this like victimhood squish energy. People, like, they'll just be like, get the fuck out of here. People want to be around people who are like the fucking sun, who are glowing and shining. And we need to let that part of us go, and do whatever it takes. Do whatever it fucking takes, because it is not worth it anymore. Harming yourself, thinking about KMSing, like, you KMS, like, you out of the game, hun. And this is a really fucking cool time to be alive. Like, embrace life. Embrace it. Embrace it. This is the only time you ever get to be the person that you are right now, with your face, with your hip size, and your motherfucking skin tone, and your motherfucking hairstyle, and like your accent and your voice, and the way that you laugh, and the way that you think, and like literally like gathering things around you that's, again, was creating these structures of support that basically lift up our spirit. Be around it more, motherfucker, be around it more. Is there any other cards that I wanted to do? I was gonna say, what do our guides want us to know, and what does our higher self want us to know? Sure, I'm gonna do this with my magical cards of doom. Is this a message for us? I don't think it is. It's my whole deck that just went. Maybe we need one from that too. I'll do this first, and then we'll do some of that. Okay. So, to conclude, what do our guides want us to know? And what does our higher self want us to know? I'll do 2 cards from each. This is a deck that I made myself, by the way. And one day, I actually have an iPad Pro now. I really want to make it into a digital deck. Oh, that's such a nice message. Oh, I can't wait to share that properly. Yeah, because it's really to the point. I love this deck. It has really like goofy art. And yeah, if you want to like support that and keep up with that, then go support me on Patreon. You can go follow me on Twitch as well. If you're like watching this on YouTube and you've never met me before, hi, I'm actually a Twitch streamer. That's like my main content. I don't know why I did a funny accent, but we'll get one of each on this as well. What does our guides want us to know, and what does our higher self want us to know? Oh my god, this video has been long. I hope you guys are still with me. Ooh. Oh, that's too many. Let me know which part of this video has resonated the most, by the way. I would really appreciate the feedback. Oh no! That's too many again. I'm like trying to get additional. What does our guides want us to know? What does our higher self want us to know? I feel like there's two backwards. Okay, I'm gonna take these three because these are the ones that are like I take note of the cards that are the other way around in my deck, because I think they're like important. So we'll go through this. Yeah. So what do our guides want us to know? Which is the really cool cards. This is doors are opening for you. Doors are opening for you. You are going to be moving forward, and there are positive changes coming. There's also key information coming into you right now, and you need to fucking follow on it. And you need to walk through the door. There are doors that are opening up around you. There's opportunities and positive changes and movement forward, and blessings are coming your way. Allow blessings in all forms. There's going to be a lot to be grateful for, and that's why I was like, oh my god, I love these cards. But these are the ones that I made. Very cute. Very cute. And then the message from our higher self, which is literally the two cards that I pulled for myself last night, is about connecting with our inner child. Connection, love, belonging, heartfelt relationships, soulmates, and kindred spirits. Inner child, ask yourself what you need, talk to yourself like a child, and nurture yourself. This is making me think, you know how I was saying about setting yourself up for the different support systems that push you to be your highest self? It does involve your like soul family. So if you've been thinking about trying to make some friends and reaching out to certain people, then please shoot your shot. And this can also be, you know, befriending a community, becoming more of a social person, or, you know, a person within a community. Now, obviously, you know, we're all adults. Sometimes it takes us a while to, you know, like, for it to be right for us to really make friends with people. And that's okay. I just feel like just start this process of connecting, and it does feel like with yourself as well, like you belong to yourself. Allow yourself to belong to yourself. Above all, like fuck any outside scenarios where people like fucking make you feel like you don't belong. At least belong to yourself, and then that will start manifesting outwards. And please nurture your inner children. I love this card so much because I love the little faces. They're so wholesome. Nurture yourself. And create that loving relationship between you and your inner child. There's a ton of inner child meditations on YouTube. And if you have any questions about it, come and join our Discord server. It will be linked down below. Yeah, and I hang out in there like regularly, and I reply when I can. And the final cards is your worth cannot be measured in the mirror. To be peculiar is to be remembered. And the rarest flowers bloom at night. So all of this darkness, all of this stuff that we've been going through, it really does serve as as fertilizer. They say shit is the best fertilizer. It's fucking true, and this includes all the shit that you've been going through in life. Like, use it as fertilizer. And yeah, the rarest flowers, which are just so beautiful, you know. You got like fucking daisies and fucking, why was I gonna say cauliflowers? You got cauliflowers everywhere. You know, dandelions everywhere. You know, they're cool, but like everywhere. You know, like you are a rare flower, and I do feel though that there is also a message too here that like you have been afraid that your flower is too sensitive to the climate and the atmosphere of showing up in public, and it is needed. It is needed. There are people like you that are begging to feel not alone, and you make them feel not alone when you show up. And yeah, like, it feels like, yeah, your worth cannot be measured in the mirror. When you reflect on your life and like try to see your worth through what materially you have succeeded and you have done in your life, first of all, bish, you've got past lives. You got past lives where you've done loads of cool shit. And also, you can't measure your own worth like from that space. Like, it's just not accurate. And your weirdness is gonna help you be remembered, and is also your coolest part about you. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. And if you'd like to see more of my content, I post things sometimes on Twitter, but mostly over on my Patreon is like the best way to support me. And I also do readings and stuff on Twitch. Yeah, so if you want to hang out, if you want to find like a like-minded community who does tarot and we're fun and shit, yeah, come check us out, come hang out. It's really cool. I am currently the only British partnered tarot reader on that platform. But it's really cool. If you've never been to Twitch, it's like a live streaming platform, so like you can chat in the talk in like the chat room, and like I'm like listening to it, I'm responding to it, and yeah, we talk about all sorts. Like, we usually have like themes that we go through, and we go like in depth, and we give advice, and we talk about experiences, and we pull cards, and yeah, it's a really cool time. It's very, very healing. It's very, very rewarding. I absolutely adore doing what I do, and now this is me branching out so that we can attract more cool people. All right, take care, everyone. Peace. Bye.